quacha vanitam tia Langley quacha astelna tia Neatlands jalangan tia Neatlands jalangan tia
Jeff Cruz, I can't hear you. You guys on?
We're ready.
Okay, I'm gonna come over here. Are we on now?
Yes, you are.
All right. Hey guys, we're here at the Miami Seaquarium outside the Miami Seaquarium. Here for a candlelight vigil. Just gathering with some folks here just to honor Skelly Cheptanot, honor her journey, her journey for her spirit finally home. And we just wanted to be able to do that together as a family here outside. We have kind of a weird setup here, so like I have an AirPod in, and so I'm gonna have to stand next to people to for you to hear them. But Alejandro, is there anything you want to say to anybody?
Yes, thank you everyone for supporting Toki. Thank you for supporting the communities and all the people involved with this process. Unfortunately, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, she was doing a speed laps, and the next day afternoon she passed away. These things happen. There are many things that we can take control. God take control of everything. Everything is on His hands. So it is what it is, and her spirit is traveling now to the study scene.
Charles Vinnick is here to join us. It's a kind of a weird setup. Everyone's listening through my ear. But if there's anything you'd like to say, the camera's right there, and you just have to stand. You have to stand kind of close to me if there's anything you want to say to we're live. In your ear? Kind of, yeah. But talk loud, not whisper.
I just want to thank everyone for their love for Toki. And I know that she shared her love with us. And that's remarkably special to have any opportunity to spend this kind of time with her for the last 16 months. And I can say, as Alejandro just did earlier this week, she was full of all the life that we were used to seeing. And it's hard to fathom how that changed in the way it did. I don't think any of us yet know or can even process what has happened. But what we can all take solace in is that she's a remarkable animal. She showed us a will to live that we can only barely imagine. And she has grace now as she had grace in life, and will do everything possible to bring her home with respect and reverence that she deserves.
Sylvia, is there anything you want to? You guys know Sylvia has been with us. She's our Miami advocate. Done ceremonies with us. You have to talk kind of close to my ear. But is there anything you want to say to everyone watching?
I am just heartbroken and devastated. Carlos and I were the only ones here last night. I couldn't even believe what was happening here. Many times to see her at least would allow us to not even go in there, at least to give them flowers so she could go wherever she was going with flowers so we can say a prayer. That wasn't allowed. I understand we're in pain, but at least now we know that she's finally home. She's finally free. She's not suffering anymore. And sometimes I feel like we all failed her. Sometimes I think I should have done more. I just don't know what that more was. But we tried. We tried. We just couldn't get there. We were so close. We were so close. We just couldn't bring her home.
You want to say anything? I'm have to
I will do
difficult.
my best to be articulate and honor all of my dear friends and new friends that have all come together in this morning. It's hard for a lot of people to understand what a whale is. A non-human, sentient, conscious being. Over the last 30 years that I've worked with dolphins and whales, I found them to be friends, to have personalities, to have a level of intelligence and thoughtfulness that rivals my own. The sadness is an incredible loss. And I hate to see my friends in such pain. And I hate the fact that we were so close with the help of so many people that rallied after so long of her imprisonment. And this chapter has a punctuation. I hold culpable and guilty the dolphin trade industry. And I know now is not a time to go into pointing the fingers and shame, but this is not over. We need to empower people to practice compassion and empathy, to understand that we are not the apex of the planet. There are people of the sea. Their neurology shows that they are
She was able to assemble this completely impossible coalition of the dolphin park owner, the animal rights advocates, the Lummi tribal matriarch, the developer billionaire, the football owner billionaire, all into this coalition working together with a single purpose. Bring her home. Bring her home. How do you assemble a group like that to work together, get them to cooperate? They were doing it. They were doing everything they could, and it was working. She was healthy 2 days ago. the reports from the veterinarians and the videos, they were allowing some images to come out finally, and they were showing that she was full of vim and vigor. She was racing around the tank. She does that on her own. You know, I don't know if anyone here ever runs or swims or gets exercise, but you know, it feels good. You've got to get started though. You got to build up steam. She would do that. And in that tiny 80-foot by going around the work island, maybe 50 feet, very tiny oval, just one constant U-turn, but she would whip up the bow waves that would go out of the pool. It's amazing. She did that on her own, and she was doing that until very, very recently. Until, I believe, 2 days ago. The first sign of anything was 2 days ago. She lost her appetite. And they worked on getting her to be able to eat enough all night and did blood work to see if they could figure it out, and the blood work showed complete renal failure. We may know more. We will examine her, but she was on track. It was becoming inevitable. She was coming home. There was just no other option. And look what happened. I can't fathom it. Yeah, this is not what we had in mind. I couldn't believe it. They told me to look for a tweet yesterday, 2 o'clock. Look for a tweet from Eduardo Albor, and it said, she departed. But what would she want? You know, her legacy should be for her, too, in her name. She would want her family to be well fed and happy. That's why I wear this breach 'em now. We gotta get them more fish, more salmon. Her family needs them. That is the message that we always carried with us. Anything about Toki was also about her family. That was the whole secret sauce of the campaign, was to make sure when people see her, think about her, hear her name, they know she's a Southern resident, that she belongs to her family, that she always did and always will. And that's taboo, you know. That's actually a verboten thought. Because the whole reason for keeping her, these are the walls of words that have kept her in that concrete tank for 53 years, was the words that say, that's all she knows. She's been there all her life. She would be lost in the ocean. It's a terrible thing to do to her, to plop her in the ocean. All she knows is us trainers, right? A little bit of, you know, self-importance going on there. And ignorance. She was born and raised by her family, by the Southern residents, taught how to catch fish, how to communicate. I bet she was a chattermouth. I bet she was just chattering all the time up until that horrible day. And in fact, she never quit. We have recordings. She kept chattering to her family, I guess, the entire 53 years and 10 days that she was in there, because we have some that were smuggled out, not a lot, but enough to be identified as Southern resident calls that she kept using. She learned those from her family, from her mom, from her entire extended community. She learned everything she needed to know. Ken used to say she got the grammar school part. She went to school. She learned all she needed. They never knew that in Miami. when they would spout off about how, oh, it'll kill her, they had no idea that she was going home, that this would be a relief. Medically, it would be therapeutic for her. It would help clean up those mystery infections that she had. I'm sure it would have. And they could have done that any time. Well, certainly since Ken and all of you and about 100,000 other people around the world started telling them, let her go home. They could have known this, that she maybe is, still a Southern resident.
Yes.
She is.
She is. She was the epitome of resilience, and I believe she is still there, but in a different form. And like you said, she brought the whole world eyes on her, and she was about family. And so now it's time to move that to the family.
Exactly right. That's what she would want. And that's where she is now. Jan?
I had a tough job of calling my grandchildren to let them know about this. And they live in the concrete of LA, but believe me, they're orphans. I have been since they were very small. And they don't understand either. And I don't think all of us, any of us, will ever really understand why and why now. And Nina Bella said to me, well, Graham, I just hope they let the rest of them go. And I said, that's what it's about, is hope. That's hope behind you, Howie.
I know, this is hope.
That's hope. So I've been trying to muster my
We're
own.
about to wrap up here in Miami,
Spread
Deb.
it around as much as I can. And I hope all of you will do the same for Toki.
Yes.
I think that one thing that we've been saying for the last couple years now, it's been almost 2 years since the stadium's been closed and people haven't been able to see her. But a lot of people praying for her, a lot of people out here every weekend. I just want to thank all of you for doing that and continuing to join and just really seeing how this movement has shifted. And it's shifted because we started working in collaboration with people instead of against people. And, Ken Belcom, when he wrote his original plan to send her home, he said, we have to work in collaboration. And we have to fight for something, not against. And we were close. We were close. But she's finally free, like we've said. And what we've been saying for the last year and a half is she is well, she is whole, and she is home. And that's finally true. And this family that's been created just in this gathering and this standing for her, so much love, so many relationships built, and peace and love and joy and compassion and all the things that we keep talking about each and every week have been true, and those came from her because that is who she is. She is all of those things. And she is finally free. She is finally home. And I just want to thank all of you for coming out tonight and for being here every single week. And whether you're on the show or you're out here or whatever it is, everybody has been here for her and continues to be. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, this family that we've built and have stood together this whole entire time. And I truly believe she's home. So
helpful to picture Toki. Well, I don't know that we need to be on the air for this, but it's helpful to picture her as we remember. So what are the images that I have? And I'm lucky because I got to spend time with her all the time. But I picture her with two of her trainers, with Sarah Onan, who was with her for more than the last 20 years, and Kira Wadsworth, who was here fewer years, but had a tremendous relationship with her. And recently, I mean, within the last weeks and months, they would be in the pool sitting on what they call floaties, these little white floats. And it's be like, we call it kind of the girls' party. And she's pushing them around on their little floats. They're all kind of together, having fun. It's an image you just can't do anything with but have joy. And then in these last weeks, not only the last weeks, but particularly more recently, Toki on her own would just swim around that pool fast and full of life. And that's what gave us such hope because she clearly had a joie de vivre, a joy of life, and a spirituality that you couldn't miss. And you could feel just being around her. I knew to bring my hat. It's been really wet the last few days. And that's what I hold because she showed us that every day. She showed us a will to live. This all started years ago with Howard, Ben, everybody, many of you, many more years before I was involved, and long before Friends of Toki existed. But this last episode started some 2 years ago, 18, 19, 20 months ago, with wanting to share and make sure her health and welfare was transparently reported out to everyone because she'd been in this vacuum where no one knew how she was for so long. It started that way, became the collaboration that Annette described, where people who don't necessarily share many views, but came together with one idea could help her go home. That allowed us to communicate in ways we didn't communicate before, with some respect for one another, even when we don't share views on so many things, but we could share respect and communication on her. So for me, that's something else we have to get rid of. But for me, part of her legacy is showing us that in this world today, where there's so many silos of different views, where we can't communicate, that she showed us a bridge that we can. And that lives way beyond her and something we all have to hold going forward, not only for animals, but for the whole earth, because the earth is in such trouble. And we can all say we have a responsibility, but with the responsibility comes an obligation. And with the obligation comes an intention to act. That's what we were trying to do for
You guys, thank you guys for being here. Oh, good. Thank you. Okay, good. So, just in our closing, in our prayers, Samuel Tommy's here. You want to introduce yourself in your traditional way, and he's going to sing some songs for us tonight as we close.
My modern name is Samuel Tommy. I'm from the Seminole Nakasuki culture. I'm a citizen of Seminole, Florida. I I am happy to be here in a way that my elders give you a warm welcome. We're happy that you can all be here very strong. It means a lot to have my indigenous family from across this land. It means a lot that we have our or my family, my spiritual family, who is all here and around the world. It's, it is good that we can all come and be our family. And, and with a warm welcome from my elders, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring. Thank you for your open heart. We'll be with you. It's a struggle for all of us. It's a time of struggles where we have to wake up. And I asked myself yesterday, has the world, will the world wake up? Will they wake up now? And I felt like the answer was no. And when I went to social media, I was really angry, very upset. A lot of words, wisdom came. The wisdom that came was love. And that's what I shared. That's because I was thinking about the times and the moments I had with Toki. I remember last time I saw her, and I remember being with her. It's kind of hard to find the words at this time.
I'm willing to go. I will project as much as I can. So forgive my gasping in between if I do. Um, the one thing that strikes me, and you are all an example of this, is how Toki touched people deeply, all of us. Um, she had a way of just getting inside of us and healing us. As we tried to help her, she helped us so we could help her. And she was amazing at doing that. I've watched her do it time and time again over the last 30 years. It's incredible. And she helped us help her. She helped us help her family. Um, and our work is not done. We're going to keep doing that. And we're going to do it. We're going to work harder on her behalf. Yes. Still for her and her family. Because her spirit is still with us. And it's with her family, finally swimming free with them. And you know, her spirit and her beauty, her strength was so immense. They were larger than her large body. She was just
I feel your heartbeat. I feel your heartbeat. I feel your heart in mine. I feel your heart in
I feel your heart in mine. I feel your heart in mine. I feel your heart in mine. I feel your heart in the wind. I feel your heart in the wind. I feel your heart in the wind. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. I feel your heart in the sea. I feel your heart in the sea below. I feel your heart in the wind. I feel your heart in the wind. I feel your heart in mine. I feel your heart in mine. I feel your heart arise. I feel your heart arise. I feel your, I feel your, hey, hey, yeah, como dizia, chamamos, muito tinha lativas, já aqui tinha muito como dizia, latia, mais como teoria, tinha lepe, so
because of Toki. And the diversity of people that she has touched. If you look at the Friends of Toki and the Lummi tribe, a football owner, a football franchise owner, a developer, animal rights group, all these different people that you would normally not see forming a coalition to bring a whale home. And I just laughed when I saw that press conference in a dolphin company. And you don't see these people sitting around a table gushing. I mean, that press conference, people were saying, oh, that was not a very professional press conference. And all I could see was, look at these people. Toki has gotten inside their hearts, and all they can talk about is their personal, experience and how Toki has touched them. And she just had a way of doing that. And that was her gift. And she just did that over and over. And I hope people will remember her for that. And I hope honor her that way and remember her that way and somehow find a way to keep that spirit alive in the work that we keep doing. And she was sweet. She had a sense of humor and flashed water on people. She had a good sense of humor. If she wasn't as fond as some people, she would do something kind of silly to them. And she knew people's intent. If people visited her and she knew they were people who were there working on her behalf to bring her home, she knew that. I mean, she really knew who the special people in her life were, and she could feel that, and she connected with them. And of course, she was smarter than all of us put together, and stronger than any being I know. Most orcas in captivity typically ended up really going crazy, or most of their teeth were worn down from chewing on the bars, or just Hugo basically committed suicide by ramming his head against it. And she somehow, whether it was just her belief that she would come home, or she knew that there were people trying to get her home, or just her special spirit, that she somehow remained, strong, and was able to survive. But so she knew her family was waiting, and I don't know if you talked that she had been we knew she had been using her family's calls while she was in the Seaquarium, but she was using the other pod calls as well in those last months. So we don't, I could speak bumps every time we tell these stories, and Howie probably already, you talked about the super pod and the L12s, and, so we know their brains are much bigger than ours, and there are parts of their brains we don't even have and don't comprehend. But, she knew her family was waiting, and they knew she was coming to them, so, they were there in their super pod, and they knew she was coming to them before we did. And that's when when she passed and putting all that together, it was like suddenly it made me feel so much better, because I knew she was with them, and she was home. Did you talk about Rosie? Okay, so knowing that her family was having that super pod, so knowing that the family had the super pod and their big community celebration, and then it was just the L12s, just her family the day she died. So Cindy Hansen, our education coordinator, called to share the news yesterday with Rosie Caillou James from the Samish, who has been our longtime friend and spiritual spiritual guide and friend of Toki. And Rosie told her this, that Toki's spirit left her body and came home before she stopped breathing. And she said that usually when a spirit joins a pod or a tribal family, the young ones will celebrate, and the older ones will often separate themselves from the group. And Cindy's relayed that actually what they saw last night at Lime Kiln, the night that Toki died, the calves were playing, and L25 was way offshore by herself. And there are some beautiful pictures at sunset off Lime Kiln. And Rosie did not know any of that when she relayed this to, and it, just all of that can bring us some peace in knowing that Toki was with her family. And so many of us loved her for so many reasons. And actually, Toki brought Howie and I together. And yesterday, in the middle of all the phone calls and media, and just we're still just kind of in shock. And I stopped and I turned to Howie and I said, "Are we still going to be okay together now?" We knew that she was the reason we were brought together, and we've been together all these years. We decided we think I think we still are. Has really just given purpose to a lot of our lives, and brought attention to her family, the Southern residents, and that's really what we want to do in her memory and on her behalf. And I really had hoped with bringing her home, we would bring the world's attention not just to Toki, but to her family, and to the salmon they need, and to the health of the Salish Sea, And, you know, the Lummi believed that too, and Friends of Toki, that was all of our belief in this whole thing. It wasn't just about bringing Toki home, that was a big part of it, but it was righting the wrongs of the past, not just that we removed so many whales so cruelly from their families, but also what we've done to their habitat and their food. So we want to right those wrongs. Our work isn't done. And you know, I just kept thinking about how Toki changed so many people and done so many things and brought people together that wouldn't be working together otherwise. And I'm like, she's going to save the orcas and she's going to save the salmon and she's going to save the Salish Sea and she's going to save the world. Yes! It's like, she's going to do it. You know, she really was an incredible whale. And you know, she may be yet. I really do feel. I feel her spirit now. I get goosebumps. You know, so we're going to continue that work. And I know everyone that she's touched. Her work isn't done. You know, our work isn't done. And you know, she is finally home and swimming free out of that horrible little tank. And she's with her family. And I just, I want to part with just thanking everybody here and everybody around the whole world. It's just, I'm just so astounded by the number of people everywhere around the world who this whale has touched. She just had that spirit. And I know so many of us are grieving. And I haven't even begun to even believe it or accept it, or I wouldn't even be standing here. And at some point, I'm just going to melt into a puddle and cry. But that would be a day or two from now, probably. But I want to thank everybody who's been on this journey. Some of us had those moonlight sails on the cutting side. And so many who've been part of this journey for so long. Thank you all. Um, thank you, Sandra.
Studio calls. Well, as we're energized to fulfill Toki's legacy and purpose, I hope we all are. I'm continually just blown away by the passion, by the depth of feeling that people have for Toki and for her family. Toki and her family are one. To think of Toki, think of her family.
Saturday Night Live person. We have Michael.
Susan got me involved in the Penfold Water Festival about 14 years ago. And it's been one of the most meaningful experiences in my life with all the people and friends that I've met. And Jim and I, my partner and I, we live literally on the edge of Penfold, right literally in front of our house was the place where she was taken. And so when we look out there, we've thought of her many times over the years. And what I wanted to say too is that you two have become her family along with the loving people. You're part of the cause to me. And you're my heroes, both of you. And I bring the condolences of the water festival to both of you. And you have done such an amazing thing. We want to thank you. I keep the artwork of the water festival. It's done by Roger Perdue, who is of Shimshan heritage. And in 2014, he gave us the image of Toki. This is actually, that's what he dedicated it to. These are the last two posters of Toki.
And I have to say, we had emails this morning from the mayor and the town of Cookville, from the Pinko Water Festival, and from the Cookville Chamber of Commerce, all saying they want to do some sort of permanent memorial and events for Toki. And this was the day after she died. So her spirit runs deep in that community. That was just a very, very touching.
Has anyone been saving up something to say? The question is there any way that Toki's remains will come home? Yes, definitely. In fact, the owner of the marine park, when he really, by the land, and he owns, he said he will personally bring her back to the sea.
Yeah. Well, and the learning is enjoying. Yeah, and they're the ones who are the right parties for that.
You're trying.
Oh. John was there when Toki was captured.
Maybe well, just when I think about the last 30 years, Susan and Howie have been made this their life's work, and I thank you so much for that. When I think about this whale and the other whales, I mean, I had a special relationship with J1 Ruffles, and when I hear the magic, thinking of Shakespeare, there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt in our philosophy, Horatio, or Howie, or me. And I had an experience with Ruffles, J1, where I had seen him at the whale capture, and he and I had a close encounter. And then 20 years later, we had another close encounter. He was way over there. I was telling the passengers on my ship about that whale over there. See, that's Ruffles. That's my friend. And I told them about my encounter and how he didn't upset my boat as I was heading back to get Wally Funk, who was taking all those pictures that you've seen. And no sooner did I say, there is Ruffles, my friend, than he was way over there. This is up by Spiden Island. And he turned and came directly to my ship, went down the side of my ship, eyeing everyone there. And I could not explain it until this last time when someone said, there is a part of the brain of the orca that is not well understood, but might explain. And then when we hear what happened off of San Juan the other day, and
Yeah, I know.
and it is so powerful. But my philosophy basically is we are all altered by our experience with Toki and me and with Ruffles, and so she and he live with us now, and we are changed by that experience. And by being changed by that experience, by
everyone that you meet, they are changed by that experience. And so she's a love. Yes, she lives on in us.
You mentioned reaching the dams. Can you give some specific information about that and what all of us could do?
Deb Lund, who was right there in the very beginning of the Toki campaign, wrote a kid's book about it. Asked about why the dams. What's the particulars on the dams? Well, we're talking about the 4 lower Snake River dams. They were built in the 60s and early 70s, and they block access for migrating salmon and adrenous fish to 5,500 square miles of pristine wilderness spawning habitat in southern Idaho. And they kill fish. And those fish, and this was the biggest nursery of fish anywhere in the world, or at least equal to all the rest of the Columbia Basin. Probably about 50-50, but so half of that incredible mass of fish, millions and millions of fish, especially Chinook salmon of all varieties, fall and spring and summer, they all get killed by the dams. And the main way that they get killed is not so much the spawners trying to get up, although that's a huge blockage for them, but it's the smolts trying to get down because they go down the river and they land in a lake. They land in a stagnant pool, basically. And there they get disoriented, they become subject to predators. They don't make it past 4 dams. So if those 4 dams could be taken down, estimates are that about 10 million smolts would make it to the ocean that don't now. And that's after they've been in the mountains for about a year. So they're not tiny. They're good size, ready to survive in the ocean if they make it in time, according to their metabolic clock, that changes their whole metabolism to live in the ocean. The reservoirs mess that up too. So the dams have to come out. They're just not that valuable. They're replacements for all the services, and it needs to be done. It needs to be started now. So, and now is the time, by the way, to call the White House.
Thank you.
The best hope right now for removing those dams is an executive order from President Biden that if we would write that order, there is a window of time till the end of August. And I don't know the particulars of exactly why. Maybe somebody does that can explain that, but it doesn't really matter. Call the number. If you just look up whitehouse.gov, and it'll give you the comment line. You can comment online, or it gives you the number to call. And Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, they're live operators, and they'll talk to you. They'll jot down your message. Just say, please ask the president to issue an executive order to remove the 4 Snake River dams. Oh. Will I ring the bell on that? Does anyone else have a comment or word, an inspiration?
Behind you.
Yes.
Where was Toki found when she passed away?
She was in that pool. They lowered the water because 24 hours before her last breath, she lost her appetite and was non-responsive, really. So what they do in that case, they lower the water, and the back pool is only 12 feet anyway, so they lower it to about 5 or 6. And that's where she was stationary. She didn't move in the last hours. So, in the pool, right there.
But she was with all of her. She was with all the people that loved her. They all loved her. They were with her.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
They had 20 care staff. Sorry, all her veterinary team, and she had round the clock care with her while she was that last day when she was very sick. Well, she had round the clock staff with her all the time anyway, since the Toki, Friends of Toki took over. But she had been sick like the day before. But they, since she had the stomach issue, and then like that yesterday when she got really sick, there were 20 people with her working feverishly to treat her, and they were all. I mean, we talked yesterday to our Stephanie Norman, the Seattle vet, who is one of the 2 vets that the Toki Friends of Toki had hired, who's also our Branding Network vet and friend. And she's not there. She has flown back there for some of the monthly examinations, but she had been in touch with them, and they're very like doctors who lose their patients, because they had just done their monthly exam and blood work and everything, and she had been fine, and the main vet had just said she's healthier than he'd ever seen her, and so they were all in shock, and just been this little stomach issue that they were treating her for, and then she was kind of off her food, and then suddenly went into renal failure. But so there were 20 people with her when she passed, and they really have a loving care team and trainers who were past trainers who were really close to her that they have brought back in these last months, but they haven't really let people know about them. I'm not supposed to talk about, but I guess I can now. I can't get in trouble for it now. But so the thing we can feel good about is that she was really, really happy in her last months there, and that they had, they put in really good chillers in the water, really good filtration system. They'd improved things there for her as, to the best they could. They had improved her diet, so they'd really made things there as good as they could for her while they were also working to get her out of there. And, that she was playing and happy and active, and, so that's good. It's sad that it wasn't for a longer time that she was happy like that, and sad that that didn't continue on to her coming home. But she wasn't alone when she passed. And actually, she was with her family. Her spirit was with her family.
Looking at the bigger picture of all the sea worlds in the world, are there still captive orcas everywhere in the sea world?
The question is bigger picture of captivity in the world, and it's really all in China. Now, it's really only China that is still trying to expand, but they depended on a supply of orcas from Russia. And a couple of years ago, some just amazing, incredible scientists and activists in Russia managed to get through the Ministry of the Environment to get them to put a ban on any further captures and any export of the ones captured. So that left 10 orcas and 89 belugas in captivity that were set to be delivered. They put a stop on that, and after about a year, finally, they just trucked them out to the edge of the water and dumped them in the water, basically. Which shows that they work. And it was only yesterday that somebody posted a photo of one of them. Well, no, a couple. I saw it yesterday. It was a video of some scientists out doing photo ID population studies, and here comes one up with that radio tag that they put on when they dumped them in the water, swimming right alongside. You know, if not family adopted, I mean, you know, as close as possible to being family, just like a normal wild whale. She did fine. Good indication that they probably all did. So that's where it is. No more captures. China's the outlier.
So and there's still, as far as there's Corky, the northern resident whale at San Diego SeaWorld, as far as any West Coast, you know,
Right.
non hybrid.
She's a lot like integrated Toki, except she's in SeaWorld. And they're not going to talk.
How old is she?
She's also, she's 56 or 7. She was captured before Toki, about a year and a half, but at a younger age, so about the same, so mid to late 50s. And there's people, there's a sanctuary, a sea pen, a whole compound ready to receive her. But SeaWorld won't talk. Michelle?
I just have another little inspirational story.
Speak up.
Oh, sorry. Some of us, I'm sure, we're all there, but I remember at the SuperPod conference, I think it was 2015, the Southern residents hadn't been down, you know, Pearl Strait for months. You know, you look up Limekiln, you look at the calendar, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, you know. And, you know, of course, the people that are at the SuperPod conference are those of us that are working Poland, you know, doing anything we can to save the Southern residents and to save, you know, the captive cetaceans. And we go out there in the last night, go out to Limekiln, I'll never forget it. Miguel and I went out to the end, and we're like looking. We had this really cool shot of the two of us. And sure enough, Miguel's a really good whale spotter, right? it's his magic. And sure enough, he's like, I see them, they're coming. And everyone's like, no, they're not coming. He's like, yes, they are, they're coming. And sure enough, you could see way in the distance these triangles just coming up. And here they come across the strait. They hang it, you know, what for them, that's a right. And just come down, and they just stayed in front of us and played and breached and tails. I mean, for hours. It was dark, and they were still there. It was crazy. It was so weird to like leave because it was pitch black, but they were all still there, and it was like, oh my God, I can't leave. They're still here. They were there for hours. It was crazy, and I just thought, if that wasn't a moment of magic, if that was not them coming just to say thank you, like, we know you're pulling for us, you know, I just will never ever forget that night. It was just amazing. There was even double rainbows in the sky.
Yeah, be assured they knew you were there. They knew.
Oh, I know they knew. So, and I just want to say that I feel like Toki was just too big for this world.
Yeah.
She was just too big for this world. I don't think that any single being on this earth could go through what she went through and remain the way she remained and do what she did. And I just think she's too big for this world. And I just really think that her legacy is going to be saving the Southern residents. And I know I'm never going to quit. No matter what, I'll never ever quit on them. She just keeps
I know you won't.
Maybe she's going to be able to push through things for them that she couldn't do, you know,
Thank you, Michelle.
here on the earth.
That was beautiful.
I've got one more question.
Okay.
What about the orcas in San Diego?
Yeah, the orcas in San Diego. Well, Corky is who we talked about.
Okay.
Is like the matriarch. At her age, last I heard, she is the leader. She is the one who teaches not just the new whales, the younger whales, how to do things. She teaches the trainers how to relate. Uh, I don't know a whole lot of particulars, but they're there. But they keep doing the shows. They stay in business. People keep paying money. Uh,
And that's what the whale sanctuary project is, trying to do the sanctuary if they can get the SeaWorld orcas or other whales free, but it's that getting them freed, and that's what we hit up against for 30 years with Toki, was getting the marine parks to let. And we were just one little marine park that wasn't a huge conglomerate, but that marine park industry is really strong, so it's, but, Blackfish did a lot. and, um, and the young people, when Blackfish came out, those kids are growing up and things are changing. Um, the rules were changed, and the marine park industry was really part of NOAA fisheries in the beginning, and even NOAA fisheries is starting to change a little bit, and so
it's a formidable industry.
it's
Let's put
a
it that
slow
way.
process.
With a whole mythology and thousands of employees and tentacles in the scientific community by hosting conferences and nurturing scientists, and they all have to believe once in captivity, always in captivity. That's the rule. If you say anything different, you're out of there. You're blackballed. So they're very powerful, and they reinforce their rules. They really do. So,
But there is a sanctuary for her. There's a sanctuary
for Toki.
in Canada.
Yes.
And there's also a millionaire behind it to take care of everything. So
Yeah.
so with what went on with Toki, I mean, maybe we could, start the momentum and get and free Corky. She's the last northern resident.
Right.
After the captures. I mean, not to
And it's
take
time
from
for her to
Toki.
retire.
Yes, thank
Period.
you. Exactly.
She is
So
old enough,
use your
and it is
voice.
time.
Use
She's
your
earned
voice for the voiceless, because we could, turn that into something. I don't know. Just saying.
Yeah. Well, there's hope.
Yes.
There's hope.
Maybe Toki can help us more from the other side.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what her power is.
Yeah.
On that side. And we got Ken on the other side too. That's scary. The two of them may be playing all kinds of.
Yes.
She's sweet.
We've mentioned the narrow window of time in which we might be able to apply the administration to remove the Snake River dams and the cascading improvement in so many things in our ecosystem and the lives of magnificent creatures. With all of the outpouring of support and love and grief around Toki's Day, is there an effort underway to mobilize a campaign to get people to send the letters, make the phone calls, write the emails, and how does one connect into that network?
Damntruth.org is a good place to start. Damn truth. The damn truth.org
Damn truth, yes.
has the instructions, has the place to call or write, and the reasons why, and goes into the 137 mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and fish that depend on those Snake River, on the river itself being a working river. Yes.
Also, Save Our Salmon.
Save Our Salmon is a good group. They're working on it. Yeah, they are.
Well, the thought occurs to me that as more of us go solar, and I just built a solar shed, so I may never recoup the cost, but I might save a salmon. And as more of us go solar, the dams become less and less of a viable option for producing electricity, and then there's no reason not to.
Right. Yeah, John mentions going solar, and that is happening at a huge scale, big time.
90% of that power
alleviates
though is
the need for power.
surplus. Damn sense. It's not. You can find all those facts on damn truth.
The damn sense is. I found a band. Okay, never mind.
Okay, it can be either. Take your pick, damn truth or damn sense. Damnsense.org, damntruth.org. Both good.
So cute.
You're the program from here on out. So join in, huddle amongst yourselves, whatever you'd like to do. I can be prompted, but otherwise I'm out of words. Captivity was going to make
I think I'm going to say what I'm supposed to say.
Yeah, right. Stephanie knows what's
So,
going on.
we do have the entryway of the Whale Center open with a memory book. And we'd really love it if everyone could stop by and write something in the memory book. There's also a little, there's some memorabilia and things like that, but maybe not all at once. So we're also going to be continuing to gather down by the water for sharing stories and continuing to just support each other right now. So that's what you wanted me to say, right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna play my flute down there too shortly, just to kind of do a informal ceremony. And
thank you all for being here.
okay. I have to do their thing. Okay. Rita.
Are you with the Orca Network?
I'm just I just a volunteer.
Oh. Just hi, honey.
Hi, beautiful.
I was give you a hug. I was sitting right behind you, but I didn't want to disturb your filming.
Hi.
Hey
I'm
guys,
so glad.
they wrapping up there? Yeah, okay. Thank you guys for joining tonight. A whole lot of emotions going on over here, as I'm sure over there, and for all of you watching. But love you guys, and thanks for being with us tonight. I'm gonna shut off my cam and dab whenever you feel it's appropriate. You can go ahead and close. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I have no idea what we're doing for Toki TV, but we will be together. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Say hi to my bestie. Hi to my best friend. Hi. Love you guys. Bye, Deborah.
Bye, Annette.
Bye, guys. Bye, Casey. Bye, Stephanie. Love you guys.
Neatlands Jalangan Tia Neatlands Jalangan Tia